Today's episode is brought to you by Drift Outfitters in downtown Toronto, Ontario. Drift Outfitters is your source for all things fly fishing. From waders and boots to thread and feathers, Drift has it all. They're now open for in-store shopping, but with a COVID times twist. Along with mandatory masks, a few other things have changed. So check in on their website to find their latest updates and policies. Safety first, fly fishing second. Curbside pickup for your online or phone orders is still a great way to get all the gear you need, and they're still shipping across Canada for free on orders over $100. Visit driftoutfitters.com to learn more. Hello and welcome to another episode of So Fly. It is October, beginning of October, and we're back recording another podcast. My name is Mitch, and we've got Yilma.
Hello, everyone.
We've got Aldo.
Hello.
And we're recording today with another guest from the U.S., south of the border. Super excited to be talking to Kerry. Kerry from Kentucky. Kerry's a really, truly an everyday angler, or at least according to previous guest and really fantastic angler, Jen Ripple. Kerry's been fly fishing for 4 years, but truly has really jumped into the sport and made the most of it. She joined the Northern Kentucky Fly Fishers, or NKFF, in February of 2017, and then 3 months later joined their board of directors as the director of women's outreach. She volunteers for club events as much as she can between fishing trips and working full-time. And this year, she was really proud to receive the Fly Fisher of the Year award from the NKFF. She fished in 12 states. She's caught a number of different species over the years. And although she still considers herself to be a new person to the fly fishing community, she's more than happy to help newcomers with the information they need to also get started. She loves the fly life and some good bourbon, or so I've heard. And we love that she's here on the show today. Kerry, how's it going? Thanks so much for chatting with us. We're super excited.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. You guys are great. What a great introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, we're jazzed to be talking. I mean, we've talked to now Jen and Susan, both down in Tennessee, and now we're talking to you in Kentucky. I don't know anything about Kentucky fly fishing. Nothing.
Oh man, Kentucky's great. Full disclosure, I spent the first 40 years of my life in Ohio, so
okay.
I'm kind of a Buckeye, and
right on.
The shoe behind me.
Yeah,
right. As soon as I moved to Kentucky, I mean, I will never leave. I love it here. I actually sing Old Kentucky Home when I cross the bridge.
Yeah.
Like the sun shines bright.
Back home, yeah.
I just love it. I mean, it's a great state. So, Kentucky, it's not that far from you guys, honestly. It's just 5 hours we can get up there to the Canada.
Yeah.
I love Canada.
Yeah.
Kentucky actually, it has 62,000 miles of fishable streams.
Oh man.
I know, it's crazy. So we have more navigable water in Kentucky than any other state in the lower 48. So sneaky hydrated down here as we kind of
sneaky hydrated.
I love that.
Yeah, that is good.
So good.
So we have 40 public lakes, and I think that's 100 acres of lake. And then, we have a great stocking program. So they stock 7 million fish down here. And, I know we kind of talked a little bit about the FINS program, the fishing in neighborhoods. So that's another great Kentucky program. And we have, we have a lot of fish. We have a lot of warm water fish. We do have trout down here. But, for Kentucky, our big thing is bass,
Okay.
Bass.
Wicked.
We have a lot of sunfish, pike, muskie, carp everywhere, catfish, those, really good. I think pike and muskie, spotted bass. We have red eyes, the whole sunfish family, suckers, all that
So you're
stuff.
typically fishing warm water species yourself.
Yeah, if we're in Kentucky, we're fishing warm water. We do a lot of bass fishing. Actually, it's funny. In my Facebook feed, a memory from 4 years ago just came up October 2nd. My first fish on the fly, largemouth bass.
Oh, nice. That was your first fish? That's sick.
I know. It was on a topwater.
Sweet.
Too.
Oh, nice. Can we see the topwater? I want to see it.
That would definitely get you into the sport. A topwater bass, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a big one. So it's my fish-iversary. So
That's
my
awesome.
fly
Fish-iversary. I like your 4-year fish-iversary.
My 4-year fish-iversary.
I love it.
So very exciting.
Yeah, that's
Well,
great.
I've been to Kentucky once to tour the Wild Turkey Distillery. which was pretty awesome.
The kickin' chicken.
I
Chicken.
gotta write these down.
I know. There's
No,
between you, Jen, and Susan, there's enough enough little one-liners there to go for a while.
So good.
But beautiful state. You know, we got to a state in Louisville, which is a great town, and
yeah.
and then drove all over the country. Beautiful country.
Oh,
Kentucky bluegrass is like a real thing. The grass is blue.
it really is. It's
I was
beautiful.
I'm like, hey, the grass is blue here.
Yeah,
That's wild.
It's like a bluish hue. I mean, Kentucky, you know, we have a lot of like what I call complementary sports down here, which is usually like the hunting, the hiking, and all the boating and stuff. You can actually fish for elk and bear in the eastern Kentucky, and we have a huge deer population. Please come down here and shoot some deer. You know, turkey, waterfowl. We have all the critters down here for you guys.
A real outdoor sort of state.
It really is. And like the horse farms, like, you know, obviously horses and bourbon are what we're really known for, but
right.
it's beautiful.
And Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And,
Hey, you gotta come up here for the Queen's Plate.
Yeah.
It's no derby, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, I do it. I'm in. Some derby pie down here. It's good food in Kentucky.
Oh, great food. Oh my God, I ate so well in Kentucky. Yeah, but I remember coming back from the drive to the distillery because it's quite rural where they are, and I just remember thinking how lush everything was.
Yeah, it's very green
and very, very wild. Like where the distillery is anyway, there's like all these valleys and streams and rolling hills. It was really, really, really beautiful. I remember thinking, being like, oh man, there must be some good fishing around here.
Yeah.
Yes, you were correct. You had good instinct. Yes, very good
checking
fishing
out.
around there.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we jump right back to the beginning of kind of your fly fishing life and how it all began? Like, why did you decide to pick up a fly rod 4 years ago?
Right. So this is sort of a funny story. So 5 years ago, actually almost exactly 5 years ago, my now husband and I, we went out to Yellowstone and took like this, you know, like the quintessential Yellowstone trip. It was like beautiful. You know, we were out there for a week and, you know, you see something incredible every day. And one day we're out there and we see like this postcard of this couple fishing in what I now know is a drift boat with a guide. And it was absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, everything about it was just perfect. And the beauty of it was striking. And I remember getting back to the cabin at night and Rich and I were like, man, that was so pretty. And, you know, he says, you know, I've always been a fisherman. He says, I think I'm going to try that when I get home. I think I'm going to get back into fishing.
Yeah.
So, you know, fast forward, we get engaged, come home, we get married. He buys a fly rod on Amazon, teaches himself how to fly fish. And like, this is just a couple months later, you know, and he joins the Northern Kentucky Fly Fishers. He gets involved with the club. And then, you know, I start just kind of hanging around with him as we go to these little local streams and ponds. Yeah. And, you know, I'm taking pictures because that's what I like to do. And I'm out in nature and I'm playing with the bugs and, you know, whatever, picking up rocks. And about a year later, he says, hey, you think you might want to try this? You know, and I thought back to that day and I had no idea, like at that moment when I saw that couple in the boat fishing, that I was standing on the precipice of like the biggest rabbit hole I would ever go down. Yeah. Like, you know, I just didn't even know. And then I caught that bass and it was a golf pond, from the golf club he belonged to. Yeah. I mean, and they have hybrid bluegill, like they look like pregnant frisbees. They're huge, huge. They're crazy. Yeah. So I caught that bass and then literally, you know, I started getting into it with him. And I mean, we joined the club. I think I fished with 3 guides between October of that year. I fished October, November for trout in North Carolina. And then we went out for steelhead that April. And I joined the Kentucky Fly Fishers that February. And in May, they asked me to join their board. And I told them, I said, y'all know that I can't even barely put my rod together. And I don't even know how to tie a knot. I can't do anything. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I still can't. So it's fine.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that's how I got into it. And I mean, I literally jumped in with both feet and I just had the courage to fail a whole bunch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's key. I mean, like, what was it about like the sport that just like when you got back to Kentucky and started fishing and caught that bass? Like, what was it about fly fishing that you were like, oh yeah, I want to make this like not only a hobby but like just like a big part of my life?
I mean, and it took a minute. So, I mean, I do want to make sure like people understand like, everybody's journey is like a little bit different. Some people say, that moment was like, like light came down and like shined on me. It was like, that was it. I mean,
Totally.
I mean, I had a great time, but like, it's hard, right? And it didn't, and it wasn't until we fished, I had another club member sort of take me under his wing and, sort of kind of teach me how to fish one day when we were down in North Carolina. And that was the moment. I think that was the moment when I, just looking at a person who fishes, it was like, he was perfect. He had all the little, all the chingareras, like the visor with the magnifying glass and this cool fly box and all this stuff. And he was taking all this time showing me how to, just tie things on and what we use and like how to read the water. And that's what got me hooked. Really, that's what got me hooked. And it was just like, I totally understand. I understood it then. It was a puzzle.
Yeah.
Once I realized it was a puzzle, it was like, oh man, okay, this is something I can never totally solve. It just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like I think it's important, for beginners, like if beginners listen to the show, even like people that are just kind of getting into the sport, that it can be a frustrating thing to start, and you could quit so easily. But if you stick to it, it can take you to some amazing places, and it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to embrace the suck. I mean, really.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's bad.
Totally.
Yeah, 100%. The suck is bad. And it's a perfect lesson for like, I feel like if I ever had kids, I would get them into fly fishing sooner than later, because I mean, I think it just teaches them so many different life skills, right from like the perseverance, patience, practicing, like it's so good. And then once they get it, they'll treat everything in their lives from, further on to just do those things. You know what I mean? I think definitely.
It's a metaphor for life. It really
Absolutely.
is. I mean, like the harder you try to fight it, the worse you're going to do at it. I mean, just like casting, gentle.
Yeah.
Gentle. Don't fight it. There's days where you're going to go out there and do everything right. And it's like, you're not going to catch a fish. You're not going to land a fish, whatever it is, but you have to appreciate it for what it is. And, have fun. Just have fun at it.
Yeah. 100%.
You're right. Absolutely.
100%. You're not having a kid, are you? Is this how you tell it?
Oh, don't say that. Oh my God. I don't know. I just got a text that just came through too. I'm just like,
God.
Episode 81, Yilma gets pregnant.
Oh, God.
The baby reveal will be epic.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. So maybe we talk a little bit about Kentucky now, because like I said, like I haven't fished there. I don't know if many people have, like if it's a huge fly fishing state. I mean, like what is the fly fishing like there? What's the fly fishing culture like there in the community?
Right. So in Kentucky, you would be surprised to know. So we have the Northern Kentucky Fly Fishers. And I mean, honestly, I kid you not when I tell you that they are probably the nicest group of people you'll ever want to meet. Incredible. Nice. It's one of the biggest clubs in the country. It's over 300 members. I think we had 300. Whoa. I know. It's nuts. What's even more nuts is our sister club, I guess the club we kind of spun off from, the Buckeye United Fly Fishers in Ohio across the river. Yeah. It's probably 40 miles away. They also have over 300 members. So within 40 miles of each other in the middle of the country where there's really no trout water, you have two of the biggest fly fishing clubs in America. And that's shocking to most people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
For sure. I was reading on the, I was looking at the NKFF's website.
Yeah.
And you're saying that you draw membership from not just Kentucky, but from neighboring states as well.
Right.
That sounds kind of cool.
It is cool. We have Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio people. A lot of people are members of both Buckeye United and Northern Kentucky, which is really cool. And it's a huge club. We do a lot. So, I mean, I think like every year we do, like, we're primarily focused on education. Like we promote promote the sport of fly fishing is really our mantra. We have 8 free fly fishing classes every year. So totally free. We have one 6-week-long fly tying class that we do, 6 rod building classes. And then we have like other like pop-up sessions, and like the only cost to people would be like the blank for the rod. Yeah. And then just maybe they'll buy we loan them vices and stuff at first. And then, they have to, eventually they'll buy one of their own. But I mean, I think we focus really on like kids education. So I think we do 4 to 5 big kids derbies every year. We have 150 Zebco rods. So we don't teach the kids to fly fish necessarily. We just want to get them out and fish.
Yeah.
And I mean, every weekend there is something, some kind of kids, something. And like, we have a lot of members who volunteer just to help out. And that is, I think, one of the most noble things that we do as a club is just getting families and kids engaged, like that. Yeah.
And that's like a huge benefit of having a club at all, right? It's just that community aspect.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, my husband and I talk about it all the time. It's like, we don't know like how we would not know these people anymore. I mean, like they're some of our like most cherished friends and like our guide friends and everybody we've met in the community, in like the community of fly fishing, like Jen and Susan and Jerry Meyer. I mean, there's so many of these people that have become like really good friends now. It's incredible. It's just an incredible community.
Oh, that's wicked. Yeah. I mean, it's like what's really special about fly fishing in Kentucky? Like, well, how is it different? Why do you think there's so many anglers there?
Well,
the body of water,
right. Oh yeah, there's so much water. Well, I think a lot of people start out as like spin and bait casters, and a lot of people like to fish lakes. And I mean, I personally like rivers. I'm a river girl, and so is my husband. But a lot of our members have kayaks and boats, and they will actively go and just kayak these lakes or rivers. It's just water everywhere. Now, again, like May through October, that's really easy. So in the wintertime, it gets to the point of where you better go south. You got to get into Southern Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina to fish for some trout, but it's close. So we may not have a lot of fishing here all year round, but between the months of May and October, it's like craziness with warm water fish.
Yeah.
Right.
But the other 6 months, you can easily get anywhere. I mean, 4 hours from here is Tennessee,
right?
North Carolina. You can go down into Georgia and Florida. You can get to the coast.
That's true.
I mean, it is really easy to get to places to fly fish, even though we may not have a spot here in like the cooler months. Or you just, you go crazy and you start tying flies. And,
that's what we do.
Rods.
That's what we do up here.
You have meetings.
100%.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
In Canada, it's my gosh.
Similar.
I spent a lot of time up there in the winter. It is, it's cold.
Where were you? Where were you up here?
I spent a lot of time in Brockville and near the Thousand Islands.
That's great.
Yes, Brockville.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, Aldo and I are from there, near there. I guess.
I know.
Yeah,
right on.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I have a lot of Canadian friends.
It's a similar season, like
on.
Warm water, May to October. That's kind of what it's like up here too.
That's basically. I mean, we do have the added benefit of steelhead season, but
oh my God, up there, I can't even imagine. Like the fishing up there would be just craziness.
It's pretty fun. Like, I mean, this is my favorite time of year, kind of, because like it gets cold and we go swing for steelhead, like Great Lake steelhead, and it's fun, man. Like, and and we could fish all the way into December, January, even if we wanted to. But I mean, it's pretty cold.
Yeah, if you bring enough wild turkey.
Exactly.
You're picking the icicles out of your beard and
exactly.
like, oh my gosh.
Sometimes.
Yeah. It's chilly up there. It's as cold as I've ever been when I went to Montreal one winter. My goodness.
Montreal's so cold.
Montreal gets cold winters.
I never knew what those floor length coats were for.
I
was like, seriously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Those Canada Goose comes in handy.
That's for sure.
Get that down.
Yeah.
Out of everything you got to fish for, what's your favorite? Are you kind of hooked on bass, or has the musky craze taken over?
Man, I tell you what, I do love some bass, but you'll be excited to know that my favorite fish is actually steelhead.
Nice.
That was my third fishing trip. Yes. I caught a 35-inch steelhead this year.
Nice.
Which was amazing.
Fish.
Amazing.
Yeah. Where was that?
I love them. So we can get from here about 4 hours north of us. We can get to southern Michigan.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's Michigan. Michigan is Lake Michigan has some big steelhead, and because they don't travel like, those distances like out west when they're coming from the ocean, they're traveling like 500-700 miles, and they get like wafer thin, and these things come out of the lake, and I think they can travel. I mean, you can start catching them the ones we go for in a particular tributary, like maybe 70 miles. So they are like smoking hot when you lay into them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just
yeah. And their fins are like see-through because they're like right out of the lake. They just bang right up the river. Eh? Yeah. I love that.
Yes.
So cool.
Yeah.
Man. That's a nice fish.
The coolest.
That was a big fish.
Yeah, that is a nice fish.
Big fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that's I'm most proud of that, you know.
So tell me about, I want to know a little bit about muskie fishing. Sorry to derail a little bit, Mitch, but I just went for my first muskie the other day with Aldo, and it was 27 inches. It wasn't huge, but we spent the whole day casting. You know, my wrist, my fingers are all bruised, and it's like literally cast after cast all day from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
I was also beating him.
Yeah, he was beating me. I mean,
catch better. Catch.
He had to take a nap on the boat at one point. It was so much fishing, but. Yeah, any tips? Because like I just don't get those fish. I don't understand them.
So we have, I mean, literally right around the corner. So one of the members of our club, he is Mr. Muskie. He is great. Dave Huff, he's great. I think he may have the line in on that fish. So if you ever want to come down in here fish, that is the guy. Mm-hmm. You got to come down to Kentucky and we'll set you guys up with him. Yeah. He actually has his own like his rods that he's kind of selling his Huff. It's WHUFF Huff rods.
Yeah.
But they're really good. And he's a great muskie fisherman. I don't know much about it. We wanted to go fishing with him this fall for muskie, you know, then the COVID stuff. And
of course
he's kind of busy with work right now, but we're not going to give up. We're going to.
I think maybe that's the trick.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, pike is fun, but they're different.
Yeah.
Muskie are different.
They're so cool looking too, man. Like they're just such a cool looking fish.
But I don't get it. Like
yeah, they are. When they're huge, man. Like I saw a picture the other day of like a 50-something inch muskie.
Oh, it's
like,
insane!
Holy crap, man! Like,
crazy.
The
it's
head
sick,
on these
and
things.
we have them here.
Yeah.
You know, we have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have tiger muskie there? And I know Chloe out in Montana has. She goes for tiger muskie, but
I'm not sure. I'd have to.
I don't know their range, but those look pretty cool too.
Those are cool looking fish too.
With the hardcore stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one chase a fly that was like, I don't know. Like our guide guesstimated it like 40 in the 40 plus inch range.
Nice.
And I was like,
that's sick.
So
it was wild,
man. Oh god.
Only like alligators.
They are.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're like, is that a log? And you're like, no.
Not a log.
Crazy.
No.
I love that, man. Okay, so maybe we talk a little bit more now about Northern Kentucky Fly Fishers in the club, like just some more details behind the club. Do you know when it started? Like, how long has it been around for?
Yeah. So it's a spinoff of Buckeye United. So Buckeye United started in like 1977 by actually one of our current club members. He's still around. So in 19,
I said that's cool.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, he's a cool dude. So I mean, so it started in 77, but in 1986 they were starting to get a lot more people. And they were complaining like, oh, it's 125 people. It's getting to be too much here. So one of our current club member, Mike Arnold, I'll tell you more about him. He's kind of a cool character. He's really funny. He said, we've had a lot of people from Indiana and Kentucky. Maybe we can like do a spinoff chapter and alleviate some of the, congestion. So that's what he did. So I think their first meeting was actually their anniversary is coming up, 33 years, October 10th.
Wow.
Was the first meeting in 1987. So they'll be 33 years old this year. And so they kind of started small with just a few members, like 30 members. And then they had the, in the 90s, the river runs through it, came through. Yeah. And then like they had this like kaboom, 125 people joined. So,
yeah. Jesus. Eh?
Yeah, it was crazy. So I think they, that waned, but now slowly but surely, it's been sort of a steady build over the other years. And, they've incorporated a lot of different things. We have a board of directors. We're a 501(c)(3). So that gives us tax exempt status because it's important because all the money, we don't make a lot of money. We raise as much money as we can, and we have a fairly large operating budget, but it all goes to training or teaching, and giving back to the community. So, we'll have these guest speakers, and we'll pay for them to come in and talk to the club. And we'll have, again, before COVID times, if anywhere between 80 and 120 people at our meeting, and we have really good speakers. I mean, we've had Jen and we've had Susan Thresher.
Yeah.
We've had, really good, like, people that are like biologists, people. We had this Nicole Watson. She's really cool. She's a PhD candidate out of Michigan. She came all the way down to talk to us about trout and steelhead.
Cool.
She is very interesting. She'd be fun to talk to.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. She, but anyway, really cool speakers. And then we also have people that come, and like Susan, she'll come and she'll have classes. We do our classes. We teach fly tying. We have a big banquet every year, and we have a speaker.
Nice.
Jen was our banquet speaker one year, and
Nice.
we raise a bunch of money. And again, all this stuff goes to, purchasing rods and, training materials and renting places to teach people. And, it's really it's just special.
Yeah,
it's just
great.
really special. We called all of our members when this COVID first started. The board split up all of our members, the directory, and we called every single one of them just to check in. And we've done it twice, just to see if there's anything we can do, how they're feeling. Because, this is a big social club.
Yeah, that's cool.
And a lot of these, these people are older.
Yeah.
I'm younger, and, I'm flipping 50. And like, these guys are, they're in their 70s and 80s, some of them. And that's their thing. They love to come to meetings, and that's how they stay connected. And, I think that's special.
That's very special. Absolutely.
Would you say that, I guess, would that be kind of does the average age skew older, or? Yeah,
it is. Lately it's been changing. So that's another part of the club that I really, love, is the fact that they're very adaptable, and they, we do surveys and we pay attention. And I say we because I'm on the board, pay attention to like what's going on. More families and younger people are starting to want to fly fish. It's becoming very popular. So that's when they created the women's outreach program, to try to say, okay, we're going to make a real effort. If there are a lot of women starting to join the club, we need to make sure, we give them what they need and retain them. Same with families. We've made a conscious effort to make sure we're, paring back any of the humor. Sometimes it can be, with a big room of guys, it can get a little out of hand sometimes. So, just making people cognizant of like, okay, if we want to attract families and, we have, older people there, we want to make it really friendly. And I think we are the friendliest club. We're so welcoming to people. I mean, I was shocked when my first time I went, I had all these people coming up to me like, oh, what's your name? You ever fly fish? It's just really, and I try to do the same, for all of our new people to be, make them feel great.
So I live in Kentucky, or I don't. Doesn't seem to matter. I sign up for a membership. Like, what can I expect? What like a monthly meeting? Obviously, those classes, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So that's what I tell people. I'm like, man, it's like $30 to be a member, and it's the best money you'll really ever spend. So you get like a little beginner pack, and then you get connections. So
right.
You join the Facebook page. You can start. We used to have this like little meetup, like let's go fishing. You just reach out to other members, like, hey, let's go fishing, and you have free classes. Actually, the free classes, you don't even have to be a member to attend the classes at the libraries. But yeah, we do monthly meetings, and there's food. You can pay to have dinner or not if you don't want dinner, and you get an incredible presentation on any number of things, and basically you make connections. And I think that is what, for me, if you're a new fly fisher, so if you're just joining the community, like you get this huge resource of people. So my husband and I, we learned to fly fish by using a lot of guides, and I think having a club to say these are sanctioned guides that we've used, or they're vetted, they're really good people, they know what they're doing, that is, so it's like never having a bad date, right?
Yeah.
And then you have other people who are willing to just take you out, like, hey, I'll teach you how to, fish from your kayak, or, this is the best kind of gear to buy. I mean, I broke the tip off of my rod, and one of the guys in the club, fixed it for me. It's
that's true, yeah.
We have just like master rod builders, you have these fly tires, like these people that tie these flies, they're just beautiful, like works of art, actually, just incredible stuff.
It's a nice
That's
network.
the benefit of joining a club.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a good point, because if you're in and around Kentucky, check them out, NKFF, but also like, everybody else too. Like if there's a club near you, this might be worth checking out for all those reasons you just listed. I think it is super helpful to have,
big time.
like a network of people that have been validated by, like guides that have been validated, people that rod builders and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's an extremely helpful resource, especially if you're new to it, like you said.
Right. I mean, and it's just fun, right? When you get to know people, and then finally you're part of the story. So you sit around at these tables and you hear them talking about, oh, that time when so-and-so, did this or that.
Yeah.
And then soon enough, you become part of those stories. And, it's just, you get a good, healthy ribbing. And,
don't talk to me about healthy ribbings, let me tell you. Oh my God. But I think the learning curve is...
Sorry,
Yoma. Yeah. I think, if you have these sorts of clubs, the learning curve just skyrockets versus just being on your own or just having, you just become that much more, you excel that much more in these types of situations, which I love.
I think fly fishing is such an oral history. I mean, I think, we keep saying that, and I think that's why our podcast succeeds too, is, despite all the great resources there are, it's nice to talk to people who fish where you fish, like you can read a book about bass fishing and read a book about trout, but there isn't a book about the Ottawa River, as I'm sure there isn't a book about, I don't know, whatever, name a lake in Kentucky. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, like the Lake Cumberland.
Sure. So there's, somebody hasn't written a book about Lake Cumberland, but I'm sure there's people that know it enough to write a book about it. So it's like, then you get access to that information. Like, at what point did the NKFF realize that they needed to, maybe make your role, when did they identify that okay, we're seeing a lot of women come in, we have to make this, or families make this our priority? Because I think that's amazing that they did that. Identified demographics and then started focusing on it. I guess I'm just fascinated because, sorry, I'm going off a little bit here, but when Gilma and I just did a trip to Algoma, and we happened to be there at the same time as, do you know the show, The New Fly Fisher?
Oh my gosh, I love The New Fly Fisher.
Awesome. So Colin was a guest and friend of her. He was staying at the same place we were staying at because he was filming a show in the region, and him and I were talking because he's seeing, he's or used to be the president of the Ottawa Fly Fishers, and there's another group in Ontario called the Isaac Walton Club where we were actually supposed to present at, but then COVID happened. They're seeing their numbers dwindle. We've talked to you, Susan, and Jen. It seems like your numbers are
exploding.
Exploding. Amazing. And, obviously a lot of that it seems like a lot of that has to do with women and but at the same time, your clubs seem really engaged. Where am I going with this? I guess where I'm going with this is...
You're always going somewhere.
I'm just rambling. I'm just like...
No, there's always a point.
There's always a point. I guess where we see... I think, Mitch, you kind of articulated it in a good question. Like, I think clubs might have ebbs and flows. What do you see as one of your great successes in engaging your membership or getting such a large membership and keeping such a large membership?
I've talked to a lot of the people in the club about this because we've been trying. Well, I owe Jen an article on it actually, but why we keep seeing growth. We've actually had I think 20 new people join the club in just the past couple months, and we're not even having active meetings right now. We have shut down everything because of COVID. Most things we're starting to get back out to do these small things, but anyway, I think a lot of it is just the fact that they can sense the community, even though we're not actively meeting. But when we were meeting, we are that welcoming. So we espouse the same beliefs in that we want to welcome everyone. I mean, that's just literally it. And we are that friendly. And once you all as a group decide that you want to be that friendly and welcome everyone and you show it, you can't help but feel it when you come through the door and 5 people come up to you and just want to know your name. We have a new member, a whole new member packet. The first time you come, you're a guest and you get a free dinner, and then you introduce yourself to the club, and there's usually a line of 5 to 15 people, and then they tell us a little bit about yourself. But when you come in, we have tables. We all make a point to not sit at the same tables with the same people. We don't want to have these big cliques.
Yeah.
And I think that in itself we all want to just get to know each other and make sure that everyone feels welcome. I mean, if you see someone standing alone, that's unacceptable.
So not like high school.
Right. So exactly. Not like high school. It is not high school. It's opposite high school. Yeah, exactly. You know, and I mean, everyone's just so friendly.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, and when I say it's like, it's so diverse, meaning like there is people from every walk of life. I mean, you have people who are homemakers, bankers, lawyers, doctors, you know, people who are actually in industry, you know, like we have a few people that do that. We have, you know, former policemen, military, people that work in machine shops, restaurant people. Yeah. I mean, you just name it. We've had all these careers, and we have people that are retired, you know, and now we all are starting to have like, you know, grandchildren, a lot of us. And I think that is another piece, is like when you start to bring your family, you know, we all start to gather as a family and we see each other as a family.
Yeah, it's cool.
Just the welcoming piece. Like I said, it's just, sometimes it's almost just that simple, is you really have to put your money where your mouth is and be that welcoming. If you really want people, go that extra mile.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think maybe the reason, why your clubs are doing so well is because you guys are the nicest, most friendliest, welcomest people. Like, you're so welcoming, such nice people. And, you know, it's not to say like, the clubs I'm just speaking of the clubs in Ontario and specifically Ottawa, like, aren't welcoming. Like, they're all great. But I remember being a teenager and, like, you know, being a kid, and I was getting into fly fishing. Yeah, it was very intimidating I went to the Ottawa Fly Fishers Club this a long time ago, and I was like, you know, walking up and see people casting, and I'm like, hey, you know, everybody's like in their 40s, 50s, 60s maybe, and I'm like, you know, like 14. I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? You know? And they just did. I don't think maybe back then they just didn't really have a grasp on that. It was more of like we all know each other and we all fish, so here we are, you know?
Yeah.
But I think you're right. Like, being welcoming and being like, oh, like, hey, you know, come on over. And they actually did eventually, but 100%, I think just being open to new people and like, exactly, like, we're here to all get together and support each other. So it's like, let's put our money where our mouth is, right? And act that way. 100%.
Yeah. You know, we make mistakes too, right? I mean, we've had a few like little instances in the club, you know, where somebody, I think there was a picture of me catching a big fish or something during one of these meetings, and someone made like a cat call, and, you know, again, a buddy of mine, but at the same time, you know, they got, you know, it was kind of like, all right, you know, and, you know, you just sort of cringe and you're like, oh, dang it, this is the day where so-and-so brought their grandkids and their wife. And you're like, God. You know, but I mean, you know, but it's the fact that, you know, you nip it in the bud, and like someone like gently said, like, okay, you know, this person, like, if this were a group of 5, that's fine, but this was in a group of 100, and, you know, and they felt bad about it. They were like, oh, I was just trying to be funny. And and it was like totally forgiven. But, you know, and I think that's the thing, is like, when you make a mistake, you know, you own it, and you're like,
you own it.
Yeah. You just own it and you just move on. It's like, yeah, sorry about that. You know, and everybody, I'm sure everyone is just like me, like, make a lot of mistakes. You're just like, I wish I had not done that, you know.
Yeah.
So forgiving, so friendly. See, that's why your club's doing so well.
Humility, a little bit of humility.
To forgive is divine, right? So
exactly.
Forgive is divine. Look at you.
To err is human, to forgive is divine. What can I say?
First of all, Yoma, me and Mitch are godfathers.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we're
and you're the one spouting the gospel over here.
Yeah, I know. It's true. They're new godfathers.
Mitch and I were just recently
for a very long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Aldo, what were you gonna say, baby? You had a point, and I remember seeing your eyes bubbling with some kind of point.
Bubbling, I was bubbling. I don't know what I was gonna say. Oh, well, I had two questions, because I do want to talk about, you know, I do want to talk about the targeting of demographics, you know, specifically women, of course. Yeah. But I think I had a quicker question. Is it all your board of directors, the people organizing everything? Is it volunteer based, or it's all volunteer based? Eh?
It is. It's all volunteers. Wow. And a matter of fact, that's another reason is we intentionally turn over. Like, we really want new people to join. You know, you're supposed to every 2 years try to like get someone to replace you in whatever position you're in.
Oh, cool.
Our president serves for 2 years. And then the vice president, who's ever the vice president, they move into the president position. So basically, if you sign up to be the vice president, you know you're going to be there for 4 years. Yeah, it's a done deal. So, and then, we have that position of like, we have former president as a board member too, to like help the new president transition.
Right.
And then, we actually have restructured a couple times and added positions and added like sort of subgroups and subcommittees as needed. And, like I said, the women, when I came aboard, which was actually 3 years ago, so I've been there a little too long. And I told them, I'm like, I'm very comfortable with staying until I find someone who wants to take it over. We have quite a few women, but I think a lot of them have a little like trepidation of maybe, taking that next step. But I wouldn't leave them. I would be like, I will help you. So that's my next step, is to actually have someone sort of backfill me, and then I can, do some other things and then help them continue on. But
it was part of the conversation I was having with Colin. He said part of the problem sometimes is that volunteer fatigue.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He said when he was the president, he's like, well, I mean, he's got the show to run, right? He's got a family. He has, a dog. After a while, it's
I know it's a lot.
Yeah.
After a while, it's he does. It's hard. So it's cool that you've worked in a little bit of a way to kind of guard against that volunteer fatigue, because we've all been a part of clubs before, whether they be fly fishing or not. There's always the same five people that are putting their hands up.
Yeah.
I mean, you get that too. I mean, sometimes, and we call it out, and we do send out surveys and ask people like, hey, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What would you like to see? And I'm doing actually a Zoom call with a bunch of ladies. So, to try and like find out like what I can do for them during the COVID times. Like, do we want to do some small meetups and stuff? Intentionally like targeting some of the people. And again, like we targeted some of our members that we knew were the most vulnerable for COVID, and like, reached out to them first. So I think just knowing your people and knowing that it's okay, like to like target people in that way, just because we know like they may need a little extra help, because there are a lot fewer women, and it's not to be, like I said, I'm of the cloth of everybody's equal. I know we're targeting women in particular, just because I think they come from a place a lot of times where they've never fished, where you have a lot of kids, especially young males who maybe have fished, with a spinner rod a lot of their life. But a lot of little girls never did, which we're trying to remedy that,
Yeah, no, it's true.
So they have a bigger learning curve a lot of times, and they feel more shy in a large group of men. I have never felt shy ever.
That's good.
Between restaurants and the military, I've been the only girl in most of my life. So coming into a big group of like fly fishing men, I'm like, it's totally fine. Like I feel like normal here.
Military. So yeah, we never asked what you do like for in your day job. Are you in the military?
Oh no, I'm former military. I did that for a while.
Wow.
I was in from 2002 to 2008.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I did aircraft maintenance.
Cool.
That was my next question.
Aircraft
I just didn't know if I should get into it, so I was just.
No, it's okay. I was telling Aldo, I was like, man, I have a whole other crazy life, like that's a whole other podcast. But military life, and
I'm a good friend from high school. He does that in Winnipeg.
Ooh,
yeah, seriously.
That just makes me cold. Like seriously.
100%.
Yeah, I've done a lot. I was in the restaurant business for 15 years. I cooked for many years, but yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So hard workers, the restaurant folk.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm actually an engineer. So I went to college late. I did life all backwards.
Nice.
And then, I work for a large consumer products goods company, one of the biggest in probably the world, and I make consumer product goods for all of you.
That's awesome.
Oh wow! Great.
Yeah. I guess I can say it. I work for Procter and Gamble. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
So I knew that was there.
Yeah,
I was like Procter and Gamble.
You're probably figuring. Yeah.
But that's funny you say that, because I know that their customer service or their way they treat their employees is fantastic as well. So I feel.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
tell you what, I mean, like during this whole COVID thing, like I couldn't have asked for like a better experience as an employee, like really
That's
very
great.
concerned for their people. And so yeah, kudos to them on that. I mean, they really
Yeah.
know what time it is.
Right
Or
on.
maybe
Great.
one day you can design fly reels or something.
Yeah.
Oh man, let me
Mm.
tell you,
Have you started? Have you kind of started being like, like as an engineer, do you sometimes look at equipment and you're like,
Well, I told my husband, I'm like, if we had we live in a condo right now, which is great because we can fish all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be great to have a house and a garage, and I could like have like a rod building area, and that would
Yes.
be amazing.
Be
And
sweet.
so, but yeah, I would really love to get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My retirement plan.
Good retirement plan. I can dig it.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that you were talking about, how like you feel like were comfortable going into a big group of guys at old fly fishing clubs. I think that's great. And I mean, to have someone like you, encouraging other women to get into the sport. Are you optimistic about the future of fly fishing and women getting into the sport and seeing that kind of old boys club change?
Oh, absolutely. And, and I love guys. I mean, like the guy who taught me, he's kind of like a grandpa, like a surrogate grandpa. And
Yeah.
I mean, again, so kind, like all these people are so kind, and not to diminish any of their efforts, but I think some people are more gentle. Like I'm a legitimate goblin. I mean, like I have zero fears. Like, it's totally fine. I mean, like I have to really watch my mouth sometimes because I can get crazy.
Yeah.
I've been very much behaving myself. That's why there was no drinking during the podcast for me.
Yeah.
No drinking, no filter. So, I think that's what's helpful. And maybe that is what they saw in me when they got to know me is like, hey, this is a person I think that can make that leap.
Yeah.
And absolutely, I think I've helped them for sure. And I think I've helped a lot of women. And I know Susan is like my Yoda,
Yeah.
Susan Thrasher. So she comes and she teaches, and I've learned so much from her.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to set up classes for her, like, ladies only classes. It makes such a difference.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really sure because I'm like, oh, I don't like to be like exclusive.
Yeah.
But I'm totally fine with all guys clubs and guys trips, so none of that stuff, that's all valid. That's great. It's just a different experience when you have like all guys or all girls or all young people, or maybe like all people that are like 70 plus,
Sure, yeah.
like it's just fun, to have some people that are like-minded or like you.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to do it. I really am.
It's great. No, I think you're the person for the gig. I'm glad they picked you. It's great. It's great. It sounds like an awesome club. You're actually getting me really excited now. I want to start a club, and I'm going to talk to Aldo and Yelm after this because I think we should start.
Yes.
I think we should start
The
a fly
So
fishing club. Yeah, man.
You should.
I think we should.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys?
I mean,
Absolutely.
we started these. Yeah, let's do it. No, but I think the SoFly Club. I think we had such a great. Part of the reason we started this was to connect the community because first of all, Ontario is massive, so you physically can't always be together, right?
Yeah.
And secondly,
we want to promote Ontario. I mean, I don't think a lot of people explore
For
their
sure,
backyards, and Ontario is incredible.
well, we have a soft spot for unsung fly fishing places, which is probably why I liked talking about Kentucky and bass fishing stuff because, you were like, even at the beginning of the podcast, like, it's always like this thing where like, well, we do have trout, as if like you have to have trout to validate your fishery. For
Everybody's thinking it, right?
Hopefully we can get rid of that stigma.
Everybody's thinking it, but it's true.
Yeah.
I know.
But it's true. But we've had pretty good success with, pre-COVID doing these fly tying nights at craft breweries. Like you were in the restaurant industry. I was in the restaurant industry. I used to buy a lot of beer for my restaurants and from craft breweries in and around Toronto. And, when I started focusing more on fly fishing part of my life, it was an easy yes to get these craft breweries to be like, because I don't know, craft brewing and fishing, fly fishing,
peanut butter and
fly
jelly.
fishing especially.
Oh, yeah.
Fly fishing especially. So, we got a really great partner in the Left Field Brewery. They were just like, yeah, do it. That's just like, we don't know. And what was great is they sold it to their
customers and like people at
customer
the-
base and people who had never fished before, and all of a sudden they're just tying flies because they just thought it was, and like having some pints, and people who actually knew how to tie flies just came to hang out because they're just like, oh my god, people hanging out and talking about fishing.
Yeah.
Great. I don't need the lesson or want it even. I just want to hang out and talk to you guys about.
Do you guys remember going to bars, man? That was so fun.
Yeah, that was
Left
cool.
field nights. Those were so fun. Like, I'm just thinking about drinking a nice hoppy beer and tying some flies. It's the best.
Oh, that's so awesome. We do that here. We have
Yeah.
lots of craft breweries in northern Kentucky and Cincinnati. We do beers and barbs. That's what,
Awesome. That's great.
Oh,
Nice.
that's cool.
We do
See,
flies
that's
and
another
flights.
Yeah. The puns, man. They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beers
We
and
love the
barbs,
beers.
flies and flights. I love it.
Yeah, flies and flights. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what we do.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I know you guys wanted to talk about the Finns program that we have here in Kentucky too.
That's yes. Yeah. When you mentioned that on our initial phone call, that kind of piqued my interest. What is Finns?
So Finns is fishing in neighborhoods. And in Kentucky, since it's so rural, it's like lots of farms. And back in the day, like 60s, 70s, and probably even into the 80s, people had access to these farm ponds. Everybody lived, in an area where they could access some water and, do a little fishing. But, as slowly we build these neighborhoods and then people start moving towards the city, things get bigger, your job gets farther away, you sort of lose access to these ponds.
Mm-hmm.
And then people build fences around them and that's their spot. And, it's not like you can just walk up on a pond anymore and not get shot.
Yeah.
So, it's like, I guess, so back in 2006, I guess people had this idea, that there was a need. They're like, how do we make fishing more accessible for people who are working and have kids and they have soccer and all this stuff? So they said, well, let's start this pilot program. So from 2006 to 2009, they did 5 lakes, 5 ponds, and Kentucky Fish and Wildlife and some of the municipalities of Kentucky. So like the city or county, whatever owns the pond, they did this experiment and tried it out. So what happens is like Kentucky Fish and Wildlife will come and assess the pond, for like, how's it doing? What's it need? And then the municipalities will agree to keep the pond like policed and pick up the trash and make it a nice area and have the signage,
Nice.
for the creel limit and whatnot. And then Kentucky will stock it with a certain frequency of whatever type of fish would go well in that pond.
Mm-hmm.
So the pilot program was a complete success. And today we have 44 lakes or ponds in 28 counties in Kentucky. That is the Finns program, and it's on the website. So you can go to the website, look up Finns, find the lake, and find out all the information. And then you can go there and fish. And it's just been amazing. It's helped, people buy more fishing licenses. Fishing license is fairly inexpensive in Kentucky anyway. But, it's getting people out. It's getting people interested in sports. It's getting kids out, families. And it's just super easy because and I can take, people and teach them how to fish at a pond and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
They're not far away. I don't have to go to make a big adventure out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Strap on waders and stuff like that.
Yeah. Get a boat or whatever. So it's super easy, and it's only limited by, and so I asked him, I actually called the fisheries biologist and I talked to him about the Finns program and he said, it's just wonderful. He says, but, we have a waiting list now because they're limited by the number of fish, it's hatchery limited. So the hatchery has no more capacity right now. So, but we are, I think there's one more pond. So we'll have 45, I think, as of next year.
That's a lot of ponds.
That's a lot of ponds.
Yeah. Yeah. And a few of them are pretty big,
Yeah.
And they're scattered throughout the state. And Kentucky's a fairly large state, but yeah, you can go to Kentucky Fish and Wildlife and look up the Finns programs. And, they're, like I said, I called the fisheries biologist and he called me back the next day. These people are so interested in ecology down here and fishing and really making it just a wonderful place to live and be,
Yeah.
It's just great.
Cool to have that engagement with, I guess it would be state level government.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to have that buy-in from them,
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
It's really, they have numbers. Obviously, if you see something, say something, they really want people to be out there within the waters because that's how we find situations that aren't right. We fix them.
Yeah.
You're building stewards, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
You're putting that,
great.
you're putting the I don't want to say onus, but like you're maybe even getting
Responsibility.
people excited about having that responsibility,
Yeah.
Right. Well,
wanting
our
that
club,
responsibility, you know?
our club also has the Red Barrington Scholarship. So Red Barrington was one of the founders, more like prominent members of the club, and his grandson still actually is in the club. And we give away a scholarship every year to a student or students, graduate or undergrad or postgrad, or undergrad or graduate student in like the environmental or biology's like field.
Mhm.
And some of the kids that have received that have come back to us. We've run into them later, like, oh, I got money from you guys, and this is what they do. And a lot of them work in that industry and like do work in those fields now. So, further, things that our club does to help, really build stewards for the state and, country and world, to help people stay interested and concerned with the environment.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's always nice to see like community engagement at that level, I mean, it's key. I think it's key.
Mm-mm.
Time for
Get 'em young.
some Mitchie's Fishies. Mitchie's Fishies 5 time.
Yeah, Mitchie's
Are we
Fishies
there?
time.
I think we're there. Yeah.
You guys are fun.
You're fun.
You're fun. I know. I wish we could like drive down there and fish.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys, you have to come to Kentucky. We have so many good like microbreweries and stuff. We'll do. Oh man.
I'm just concerned about the largemouth. We don't have largemouth in Canada. We don't have largemouth like you guys have largemouth.
Oh my gosh, we have largemouth that are stupid big. My husband has.
I want to catch a stupid big largemouth.
Oh, they are so good down here.
Would you say your husband caught a how big?
Oh, it's huge. I want to say it's about like, I mean, 25 inches or something. Jesus. Stupid. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. The mouth on the thing is like this big. You can fit your. Yeah. It's nuts. It's
truly
nuts
bucket mouth. That's where they get the name.
Any water in Kentucky that doesn't dry up has bass in it.
That's so good.
Largemouth bass.
I love it.
Okay, Mitch's Fishies 5. We already know the answer to this first one, but we'll ask you again. What's your favorite fish and why?
Oh, steelhead fish. They're everywhere. They're nowhere, and they are so difficult. Like you just have such respect for a fish that, I mean, like they go through so much, Yeah. But I mean, when you hook them, it is like, I mean, just the whole process. First, you have to find them. If you find them and you hook them, you're probably still not going to land them. Yeah. So it's so hard, and it's rewarding as all get out when you do. And it's, totally. I mean, I just have so much respect for these creatures. They're beautiful. They're just so beautiful.
Yeah, they truly are. Oh my God. I'm so excited to fish steelhead. Oh, it's the season.
The leaves that changing.
There's nothing like catching like steelhead, man. They're just so feisty, especially like you were saying when they come from in the Great Lakes. They come just like right out of the lake, straight up the river, and they're just like rockets,
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they're just beautiful. And I like I said, the power, like when you dive into them and they just take you into your backing, like immediately, it's just. There's nothing like it. Your adrenaline's going and you're just shaking.
Totally, I know.
I've only caught a steelhead in the spring. I believe it was going back into the lake, if I'm not mistaken. Although, so it wasn't. It was tough. It was hard, and I was like, okay, I'm hooked. But I haven't caught the one like Mitch is describing right now.
It's just like, where we're going.
Yeah. So but I need a double-handed.
Yeah, you got to get double-handed rod.
Yeah, you need to get a double-handed rod.
Yeah. You almost getting into spay fishing this year.
Got to spay.
We're making
next paycheck. Going to local fly shop. Done.
Getting the spay.
Yeah, it's the next week. Next week Friday, Rob, if you're listening.
Do it.
Yeah. Okay. Number 2 is if you could fish anywhere in the world right now, where would you go? Why would you go there? Assuming it's the best time of year to go to that place.
Oh man, so I've given this some thought. There's so many places. It's so difficult, but. So I've always wanted to go to New Zealand, even before I was a fly fisher, just because the people are wonderful there. I mean, it's beautiful. Yeah. And then when I found out they had these delicious brown trout down there, I'm like, wow, I have to go. That's, and they filmed like Lord of the Rings there.
Yeah.
I'm a huge LOTR fan.
Oh my God. Right on. So
okay, right on.
Yes, man. Could you imagine? Like, I
can't. I mean, I want to, but yeah,
I know. I want to imagine.
I know the pictures of fishing there are just crazy. Like, it's such a beautiful place, and the fish are nuts.
Fish are
right. And they're
nuts.
clean, like they're so beautiful and clean. And like, I think for me, like knowing that the people are just so nice.
Yeah.
I've run into a few Kiwis in my travels and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, you have to come. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And they're just the sweetest people I've ever met. And I'm like, oh, it makes me want to go.
Yeah, it's such a great country. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Does your I know Susan's club does some tripping together. Is that something you guys do as well? Like organize trips to like not your state? Like I know Susan was telling us this awesome story about going to the Bow River in Calgary with like a group of 20 people and 10 drift boats showed up to the hotel. I was like, I love that image.
Yeah. Oh,
that was a
yeah.
cool image. Very cool.
Yeah, her club is amazing. I mean, just like I just love her and what she does. Like, yeah, we do the same. We have smaller trips. We went to Wyoming last year.
Nice.
And that was incredible. And
where in Wyoming?
So we fished the Shoshone, and we went to the Boy Scout camp. So there's the Buffalo Bill. Is that right? Is it Buffalo? I think that's right.
There's a Boy Silence of the Lambs yesterday. Okay. You can't say Buffalo Bill in my presence. I rewatched it yesterday. I was like,
Oh, it rubs the lotion on the
Not that Buffalo Bill. Not that one.
Not Buffalo Bill. No, but we went out there to as a group and fly fished. I think there were 18 of us that went, and it was incredible. We drove out with 2 other members and we had the best trip just driving out and driving back. And like I said, just fishing with your club and then coming back at night and talking about what you guys did, just having some beers and bourbons, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's the best.
Yeah. 100%. I think it's a great thing for a club to do is travel. Like that's one of the best. I feel like that's like one of the perks.
That's how you bond.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
New Zealand. It's a great answer. 100%. So do you have plans to get out to New Zealand anytime soon, or is it just kind of like one of those trips, like one of these days kind of thing?
Sadly, it's just one of those days right now.
Yeah.
And we have so many places to go. We can't even hardly make up our mind. Like the continental U.S. I mean, we fished so much already.
Yeah.
We've been to 8 states already this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
8 states. It's amazing. I mean, the states, there's so many
places.
Like just the geography of the U.S. You can all fish Florida for bonefish, and then fly to Wyoming and do that whole thing. Do what you're doing at the largemouth, and it's like North Carolina, redfish, Texas. Oh my God! Like there's so much to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're coming to Canada as soon as that border opens up, man. We're coming up there.
Yeah.
Do it.
Let's go.
Absolutely.
Do it. We'll steelhead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Depending on the time of year.
Or we'll go to Northern Ontario or something.
Northern Ontario, catch some huge pike and huge muskie.
Yeah.
Ever seen grayling? Come over.
Grayling. Yeah. See, I've never caught grayling. I really want to do that.
Neither have we. I don't know why I said that.
I'd love to catch a grayling. Yeah.
Do we want to catch grayling?
You was like, we'll take a grayling fishing. I'm like, where?
The aquarium.
I'm hiding grayling in my backyard.
I wish.
Yelm has been growing grayling. That'd be amazing.
One of these days.
Definitely want to catch some grayling.
Number 3, Midgie's Fishies 5 is, what is your best or favorite fishing memory? Or one of your best?
So this is like, every day is my favorite fishing memory, right? So I decided to pick like the first memory like that we had. I fish with my husband. He's my best fishing buddy, generally, where we just kind of went off on our own. So that trip I told you about last year to Wyoming.
Yeah.
So there's a little creek that feeds one part of the Shoshone, and it's so this is like late summer, like August out there, and the people that we were staying at the camp, they're like, oh yeah, you can hike up this horse trail and then like fish this creek, and be careful, there's grizzlies up there. And I'm like, oh God, I don't know if that's gonna be crazy. This sounds crazy.
Yeah.
So we packed up all the right stuff, had our rain gear and had food and had water, and we headed up this horse trail, which is literally like 6 inches across, and it was in the Shoshone forest.
Mm-hmm.
And there is literally nothing. There's no man-made things up there. I think I sent you a picture, and there's like a post to it says Shoshone National Forest, and it's like, that's the last thing you see that's man-made. And then we went like 3 miles up this trail, and we just sort of dropped down into the river and just fished our way 3 miles back. And I tell you, that was one of the like most amazing days of our life, because we were just out there completely alone.
Yeah.
We had, and we were just finding trout, and these trout were beautiful. Like no one fishes this place. And, just to find the holes, yourself. And they were trout were just where they were supposed to be. And, they were just beautiful. And like, there was just nothing. It was just so pristine. And, just have a day like that together and experience that. It was just beautiful. It is definitely one of my favorite memories.
Memory. Such a good memory. Yeah. Sounds like an amazing day.
It was. Absolutely.
I love it. Number 4 is, why do you fly fish? What do you get out of fly fishing?
It's like, just everything. Like, we talked, it's sort of like a metaphor for life. It's just so peaceful. It's so many things to so many people. And I think the longer you're in fly fishing, like when you like commit to it, and you find yourself head over heels for this sport, the less about actual fishing, it's more about everything else that you get, like the peace. You get that serenity. You learn like to be patient and really calm. It's just that endless puzzle, like just figuring it out. I think that's the most fun, is like when you come up on a place and you're like, okay, there's fish here. Now, how do I get them? What do I use? And it's all about, tricking a fish with some fluff and feathers, It's hard. It's so hard, but it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding.
It is a great feeling,
Yeah. I mean, I was in a creek with, you fish in one of the creeks around here, and these guys go by on this kayak and, they're like, oh, they're fly fishing. And, one of the kids says, hey, what's fly fishing? And he says, well, it's like regular fishing, but it's hard. And like,
it's true.
It's true.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. But that spoke volumes to me. I was like, that's why we like it, is because it's hard.
Yeah, exactly. The challenge of it, 100%.
Yes.
I think one of my favorite responses to like when people are like, oh, what's fly fishing? And someone says like, oh, it's like you use a fly on an actual fly and you just kind of dangle it above the water until the fish jumps out. I'm like, that sounds so much harder than it is.
Sounds terribly
an actual
hard.
Like a house fly. I'm like, Jesus, this is terrifying sounding.
Try to like put that on there.
Like,
gluing it onto the hook.
Okay, number 5, and the last of the Mitchie's Fishies 5 is, what fly pattern represents you best and why? If you were a fly, what would you be?
Oh man. Having listened to the show a few times, you may cringe a little, but I can totally like validate my choice.
Yeah.
So my husband ties for me a very small olive woolly bugger. He calls it a pale olive minnow.
Okay.
I actually have him tie it in one color with the lightest olive. So like a blonde, almost like a blonde olive. I'm kind of blonde.
Yeah.
And I have him tie it small. I'm small. But the little olive, I call her the plain Jane olive.
Yeah.
She is amazing. So she's small, but she works so hard. And that's sort of like me. I'm small, but I'm mighty. I will work so hard. I can learn to do anything. And this fly definitely catches anything. I don't know how many species of fish I've caught on this fly, but it is literally everything, like catfish, largemouth, smallmouth, bluegill, red eye, trout, brown trout, rainbow, everything like this. It loves this fly. And I have them tie it small because I think even really big fish like us, like it looks vulnerable. It's small, but big surprise, it's fly. So,
I love that.
Big surprises come in small packages.
That's a great answer. That's so good. I love that answer. It's perfect. It might be one of the best articulations of like representation of the fly to the person. I think it's so true.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I had to validate my choice of olive. It's like a form of olive woolly bugger.
I love it.
The pale olive minnow.
The
pale olive minnow.
That's great.
Yeah.
The palm.
I'm sort of pale. I'm very pale. It's winter time.
Yeah.
Yes, it's coming.
So what do you got coming up fishing wise? Are you looking forward to any outings soon, or is it that time of year where you're tying?
Oh man, like I tell you. So we were just in Indiana. We were fishing for pike.
Nice.
2 days ago. We're a mess.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't get one in the boat, but my husband got a few on the boat.
Nice.
And that was so much fun. They just come out of nowhere.
Oh my God, I know.
It's so scary. But we're going to down into North Carolina to the Nantahala.
Nice.
which is one of my favorite places, and we'll fish for trout down there.
Awesome.
And that'll be late October. And then I think we're going to steelhead in November.
Yeah.
And then that's a wrap for the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys got some
groovy.
big plans. I know you're steelheading too. It's
Yeah, we'll be
steelhead
steelheading all the way up to November until we get too cold, and then we'll pack it in.
season. No, I hate being cold.
I know it gets so
Yeah, I
cold,
know.
end of November up here. It's like, okay, but you know what? December you can fish too, and I might have to make a way out. It'd be cool to steelhead like in a good snow, and we got like a good snow coming down. It'd be fun.
When it's mild out and the snow's falling, it's actually kind of fun.
So cool.
Right, that's totally beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Aldo and I did that. We have a tradition. We go to New Year's fish, where New Year's Eve fish, where we go to the credit and fish for steelhead. And he got one 2 years ago, so do it again this year.
Yeah, it's a good tradition. Yeah, we have a few Kerry, we have a few rivers here that although trout is closed, they keep open all year. They keep some stretches of some certain tributaries open so people can steelhead. And the credit's one of them, and
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was snowing. There was flurries. It was really nice, and it was
fun.
mild. Yeah, it was really good. Really good.
Actually, Mitch just moved beside one of those rivers.
Yeah, the Humber.
Wow.
Yeah, I can
the
walk
west
to
end of
Steelhead.
Toronto.
Yeah.
You can walk
I'm
to
jelly.
Steelhead right now.
Shut up. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I probably will a few times this fall, 100%. Drink some, and you know what? I was saying too, bourbon, and maybe we buy a smoker because I live above one of our buddies and photographer. We take on trips, and we're like, hey, let's split a smoker, and then we can just like put a brisket on in the morning, and then like go fish on the Humber, and then come back, eat it, and drink bourbon in the parking lot. Like, that sounds like a great day,
That sounds like the best day ever.
Yeah, I know. So we're trying to work that through.
Brisket and the kickin' chicken.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, the kickin' chicken.
Oh my god, the kickin' chicken! I gotta take that.
I love that.
Somewhere with me.
Kerry,
It's actually funny. Our sponsor, 40 Creek, is owned by Wild Turkey.
oh, really?
Amazing.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. That's
Best
crazy.
sponsor ever.
Yeah, it's a pretty good
Campari.
sponsor.
Yeah, Campari owns 40 Creek
Oh, right,
and
yeah.
Wild Turkey, and we're sponsored by 40 Creek.
There you go.
I love 40 Creek. I'm done my 40
Yeah,
Creek.
you almost been
I
drinking
love-
some 40 Creek.
And I love Wild Turkey a lot.
Oh yeah, it's good bourbon,
we do
man.
too.
It is good.
Yeah,
We're true Kentuckians down here.
that's awesome.
Love our bourbon.
So good.
Yeah, for sure.
Kerry,
Yes.
thanks so much for coming on the show. It's been like a ton of fun just chatting about your fly life and the U.S. and all the Kentucky fly fishing opportunities. It's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are great. Thank you so much. Like I said, if anybody's in Kentucky or, we have members all over the country still, even if they've moved away, they still maintain. Look up nkff.org. You can find me, Kerry, Kerry, at nkff.com. Kerry at nkff.org. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Nice, right on. And I'll put links to that stuff in the show notes as well, so people can just kind of go to the website and you can find click out to all those links. So
right, and you can look me up on the women's outreach page. You can just click me there. But yeah, anybody, just feel free to reach out to the club. Friend us on Facebook, Instagram. We're on both, and we're welcome. We cannot wait to get back together as a club, but reach out virtually until we are back together after this whole COVID business is done. But it's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.
No, yeah. 100%.
No, thank you. Our pleasure.
you.
Pleasure's all ours.
All ours. That's what I meant to say.
All right,
Well,
tight lines.
I have to tell
I'm
you,
surprised I've been on this show for so long. Never kicked me off.
Never, man.
Well,
Never.
I have to tell you one more thing. Like I listen to you guys while I'm at work. I'm in the lab a lot and I'm walking around, and I love listening to your podcast. Listen to people talk, and now that I've been here, it's like listening to friends on. Hearing your voices.
Oh, come on! Thank you.
That's so nice to hear. Oh my God, thank you.
I love it. Like you guys talking, all your shows. It's just great to hear people talk about things that we love. While I'm locked up inside doing work.
God, especially that. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. 100%.
Well, thanks, man.
Gotta come visit. We gotta come visit when we can.
We will.
And attend a meeting.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys would be so great. Yes, we'll do that. And I'll introduce you to Dave. Hopefully it's the right time of year. We can make it muskie time. You guys have to go muskie fishing with Dave.
Heck yeah.
Or a big ass largemouth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, either or.
We'll take you bass fishing. We will take y'all fishing. Don't you worry.
I want to get one of those Bill dance bass. I call them. Roland Martin bass.
Yeah. And those hybrid bluegill are huge, man. They're fun too.
Oh yeah.
That'd be crazy.
you guys would have fun down here. So I'll wait for this COVID to be over, and borders will open, and come on down.
Sweet.
If I come to Canada, I'll look you guys up.
Awesome.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Do it.
100%.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks again, Kerry, and
thanks again.
have a good night.
You too. All
right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Kerry.
Bye.
Hear you later.
Yeah.
That's another one. That's 10.
10.
That's 10.
Oh, good night, y'all.
See ya.
Night.
And that was Kerry. Wow, what an awesome lady. She's got such a great energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a fun show. I've never heard about Kentucky fly fishing before, really.
No. No.
It's cool
No.
to hear about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
she's
I
great.
Yeah, super inspiring. It does kind of make you want to start a club.
Honestly,
or join a club?
I kind of have ideas already for it, and I think we should start something. But I'll talk to you guys later about it.
Another thing? Oh my God, there's so many things.
So many
Between
things.
what, that and your chip
My-
your chip eating habits.
Yeah.
Your rice chips,
Yeah.
cheddar rice
Rice
chips.
My couch sleeping habits. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, you know me. I love a good couch nap.
love good catch.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Aldo. Oh, crashing on the couch.
I do, man. It's
Baby.
just it's like a little hug. It's like a little
Yeah.
hug.
Little
It is a
couch
little
hug.
hug.
Yeah. So it's well, when this comes out, it'll be October 15th.
Yeah, next
And
Friday.
I think next Friday, I think we'll have steelheaded at least once by then.
Yeah, we're going out Friday. Me and you.
Yeah, Yilma, why aren't you coming, man?
He's got to wait.
Because I have responsibilities.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're blowing
Lord.
off our responsibilities.
Yeah, it's that time of year,
Yeah.
man. I got to get out a couple times when there's not like 1,000 people out there. So Friday, I think, well, there'll probably still be 1,000 people, but we're gonna go. We're gonna have some fun.
Mhm.
Me and
It'll be
Aldo.
good. I'll be there in spirit, and I'll be there the following or 2 weekends after that with you and Mitch on the Grand. So yeah.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, we've got a float planned,
Yeah.
which is awesome, with Tyler Dunsmore, Flywater Guiding. That's
the
going to be fun.
End of October. Right? End of October. Yeah, it's like the 24th.
End of October. At the end of October.
It's gonna be good.
Dude,
Hopefully, everybody at home is able to get out and go fishing and stay safe out there during these crazy COVID times and enjoy the fall season. You know, and if you're in Ontario, have fun steelheading or doing whatever you do. And stay tuned for that new club we're gonna launch.
my sister just texted me such a cute photo of my nephew. He just got a new haircut. He looks like one of the he's got a box top.
Oh yeah,
Looks
okay.
like one of the Belle Biv DeVoe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Remember Belle Biv DeVoe?
No.
I don't know. I just thought that was just so cute.
No, don't know Belleville DeBode, but it's quite the haircut. And everybody at home, thanks for listening.
And on that note,
Thanks for listening. That's it for me, Mitch. Aldo,
bye, everybody.
Yelma.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
You can find all of SoFly's content at SoFly.ca. On Instagram, we're at the SoFly Crew. You can reach us at thesoflycrew@gmail.com with any questions, comments, or concerns. On Facebook, we're SoFly, and our podcast is available on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify.